but he did. I'm sure he did not think after selling BET for $2 billion that now all we got is some entertainment outlet and contractual movies and shows with Tyler Perry to entertain us. We have no news outlets or anything specific, for the culture or the title, Black Entertainment Television. So that's what they made it. And some people don't even call it BET. My daughter calls it the Bet Channel. It's BET, Bet. But to keep it honest, I'm sure Bob Johnson didn't even think about anything about being a sellout. I sold my biz for $2 billion. Boom. Nigga, I'm a black billionaire. And then all of a sudden now look at the platform now. And then we see ourselves, we know what's going to happen. But somehow we think over time that they're going to change. They're never, ever going to change, just like a cheetah can't change its spots. Never change. And the only way that they can continue to do what they do is for us to be dumbfounded, us to be dumb, watered down. And this is where the science of Willie Lynch comes from. Because when I talk about women, black women, you guys are the reason why Joe Biden is in office right now because of the power that you have. I lost so many friends during the presidential election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump because I know without a shadow of a doubt how dangerous Democrats are to the black race. It's like we as a race, tried to sign a deal with them, but the deal never came to fruition. So we'll basically bring you into the room and do this photo op and I'll hand you a pen or two, but I'm about to blow your head off as soon as you go down there to Memphis, boy. And now we are still trying to do the same thing with the same people who was born in that generation who's still in control right now. Now we have an opportunity to be on the right side of history, to make some changes, amend the 13th Amendment and be the generation that actually liberated God's people. We can. We have an opportunity to abandon the two-party system, nonpartisan, independent, and we can lobby both sides. We can use both sides. And the only way this does not work is if we continue to allow our voices to be suppressed. We continue to allow what we do to not even make sense or make a difference. Nothing happens. Nothing happens by, surprise or what's the term? Nothing happens by accident. And that's one thing that I do agree with Joe Biden. He said nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens by accident. So this clearly has to be looked at as a plan. Because I'm sure out of shadow of a doubt, they would not, the Democratic liberals would not have pressed the line, loosing the laws of voting. They couldn't do it outside of a virus. And they got the researchers, they got the people in high places, they got the powers and the principalities to do so. So they needed to do this because there has not been a super spreader event when it comes to coronavirus. I'm sorry. I'm sure you didn't, pass around a wet blunt with 5 or 10 people. Not one person passed the coronavirus. All these stadium games and people crowding the field and no super spreading events. I'm going to say this. Common cold, influenza, which is the flu, pneumonia. Common cold, influenza, pneumonia, in that order. 1.8 million deaths worldwide, according to the CDC, who stopped actually counting those deaths in 2018 and somehow pushed it all and made it COVID-19. Funeral homes directors did not say that they saw an uptick in bodies. The only difference that they saw was the paperwork. So instead of dying of natural causes, older people was basically, they put coronavirus. And it's confirmed fact that if a person did die of coronavirus, that the hospital did get $10,000. So for every person that died of coronavirus, there was a $10,000 payout to do so. Confirmed fact. So we living in times of deceit. Our evildoers in high places are pretty much running amok. And somehow they have us trapped mentally, spiritually, socially, economically. How do we rise? This is how we do it metaphorically. Just imagine if we was eagles as a people, but somehow we was born in the pigeon coop amongst pigeons. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, those pigeons, the bottom of the earth's scum birds, scavengers, those pigeons are not going to let you even realize that you are an eagle, because when you sleep, they're going to peck at you, pull your wings, ground you, force you to make you think that you're not worthy and you one of them. And you ask yourself, why would a pigeon feel like that? Because a pigeon knows that it's a pigeon, and a pigeon knows an inferior bird when he sees it. It's no different. We just got to make the decision. Are we going to be eagles and live like pigeons? Or are we going to be the eagles and fly to heights that no other race, creed, or culture can actually reach? The last shall be first and the first shall be last. Look in the history books. There's a lot of documentation of history, and they call it the Dark Ages. Do you know why they call it the Dark Ages? Because that's when black people ruled. R-U-L-E-D. Those are the Dark Ages. So we did not think it was, it made sense to show our history. We got the hieroglyphics and paintings and writings and things, but look how they're documenting history. Now, I was wrong. And now I'm thinking, it's another Jewish Holocaust. No, this is a Christian Holocaust, because these are Christians being displaced in Ukraine. 85% of Ukrainians are Christians because of the Christian crusaders that came through there. No difference than, the Roman Catholics, and no difference than the Orthodox Jewish Church. Same type of, but that patch that Zelensky wears, that patch looks like the Ku Klux Klan patch. And actually it is. Look at his shirt. Look at the little cross on his shirt, and then go ahead and look up some Ku Klux Klan memorabilia. And the only difference that it will be black and red. Zelensky's is just a black print on a green T-shirt. Who used to be a comedian, who's basically being used as a pawn by the evildoers in high places to basically get United States to shoot down a Russian plane so they can actually start up their nuclear reactor so we can, start World War III. Why? Because they don't want the black man to shine. Literally. They don't want the black man to shine. And that's me being honest. Because if you look at the history, August 20th, the year 2019, we were supposed to be commemorating 400 year anniversary and the lifting of the biblical Bible prophecy, which reads, the children of Abraham will be stolen from their land, and they'll dwell in a foreign land, and they will be casted as slaves, and they will be duly oppressed for exactly 400 years. God will punish the oppressors, and they shall come out with great wealth. That's what it says. But somehow in 2019, we got COVID-19. Think about it. And now 3 years later, say this year, August 20th, the year 2022 will be 3 years removed. And that 3 means a lot. And now in the third year, remove what we have. Bombs over Baghdad. I mean, not Baghdad, Ukraine. You see? This is how they do it, with distractions. And they will do anything to make sure we don't know the truth. They will crash. They will crash an air. They will actually crash a helicopter to get one person, but they'll sacrifice everybody on the helicopter. And they do that with planes as well. This is why we got to move differently, the way that we move, because if they can make you, they can break you. And a lot of times we don't even understand because we're sitting back trying to get their acceptance. Just think about the artist or the entertainer that's trying to get a deal by a major record label. What does that entertainer or artist got to do? They got to do something that's going to spark something in that label. And they're going to make sure that if they don't die, that they will destroy the culture. This is what they call culture vultures. This is what they call culture vultures. So just imagine being an artist and you don't have to go to a major label and you have the opportunity to focus. You have the opportunity to do things correctly, fair, honest, and just. And you don't have to do anything to put a mark on your integrity. The truth shall make us free. It's okay to be righteous and to oppose unrighteousness. Because far too long, the devil has been getting a free pass. And a lot of times the devil don't even fight back because once you expose him, he got to flee because he comes in like he's somebody to help. Because I hear so many things from white people during the George Floyd. Give me your number, Bushan. I want to learn. I'm like, well, if you ain't learned so far, you ain't going to learn because what we have learned that they use y'all to destroy what we trying to do. So we really ain't going to let y'all know. And if you want to be a part of it, all you can do is just give us your pennies and go to conservatives-of-america-coa.org and give us your pennies and your nickels. And that was a good transition to basically promote the website. Go to conservatives-of-america-coa, and the COA is Colors of America. And we represent everything that ain't white. We're not trying to be the opposition of white. We want to be the middle ground. We want to raise the moral conscience of all people so we can move from Republicans and Democrats to humanitarians, because it's clear that America could find the resources to fund anything that they're trying to do. Because just imagine if there was no war going on in Ukraine and the Democratic Party, Joe Biden decided to sign an executive order to put $2 billion aside to basically open up discussions of how we can balance the scales of justice socially and economically here in America. That would have been a beautiful thing. Think about it. He can do that. He's the president of the United States. Will he do it? I don't know. Kamala Harris says she's not going to do nothing just for black people, but clearly she'll do something just for white people. Because what's going on in Ukraine and Russia is white on white. Only time you see a black person in Ukraine is them being discriminated against from the white Ukrainians and white Russians. So there's a lot of work to do. So we can and we will. We're not going to change our narrative. We're going to focus. So amending that 13th Amendment, that will open Pandora's box. Now, that's one thing that we could rally together, come together and use as a ploy to bring connection and understanding, because as long as there's a criminalization clause on the Constitution, then crime pays. And we want crime to stop paying, because if you commit a crime, OK, say if there's a murder, you got the police that got to show up overtime. OK, now the detectives got to show up. Now the detective calls the coroner and tells him we're going to be out about 7-8 hours. So you go ahead and wait all night, come back in the morning and get it. Now the coroner's eating. Now they made an arrest of the person who killed somebody. Now the judicial system is eating, because now this person is going to go to trial. Now the person that was killed, he's at the hospital. He's at the morgue. Now he's at the mortuary. Now the mortuary's making money. It's a vicious cycle to where we have basically got with Harvard scholars from the Harvard Society and made an educated decision that we're going to use the Ivy League system to actually make a case, because that's the smartest system ever. But that's my time, people. And keep tapping in. The Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast worldwide, stateside. A Better Black America. Keep tapping in. Peace out.